Today we are going to be looking at a Hirevue Target interview, a Hirevue interview specifically for a general merchandise position at Target. Grab a notepad, you're going to want to write down these questions and answers. Darren D here, welcome back to another horrifyingly awesome episode of the Ramblin' Recruiter, the channel that helps you find the job of your dreams. I got so many comments on this video about subscribers and casual viewers alike doing Hirevue interviews for Target, I figured it was time to check it out and do one myself. Alright, we're going to get started here in just 1 second. I just want to show you the setup real quick. So, ignore the huge mess on my desk, but as you can see, I'm more comfortable using a laptop computer. So I've got my laptop elevated on a box there so I can raise my camera up to eye level. In the future, near future, I'm going to be doing a video doing a Hirevue just with a mobile phone, so stay tuned for that. But for light, we've got natural light through the window here, and I'm supplementing that with 2 studio lights for my YouTube setup. If I didn't have those studio lights, I would just turn my desk the other way so that the window was directly behind the laptop's camera. And for the background, we have the nice brick wall. I'm going to be kind of zooming in so all you can see is the brick and not the shelves and things in the background. For sound, I'm going to be using the computer's audio and a wireless lav mic. If you hear any stray background noises, I apologize for that. I've got a new family member over here. Say hi, Emerald. Yeah, he's very, very noisy, but he's very cute and we like him a lot. I could only think of one way to get a hold of a Hirevue Target interview for a general merchandise position, and that was to create an identity, apply online, and wait for them to contact me. Sorry Target, I know this was a little bit shady and underhanded to get a hold of your Hirevue interview, but your recruiting process is so unbelievably impersonal to begin with, you kind of deserve to get bamboozled. So allow me to introduce you to a new friend of mine, Ian Contras. Ian was a career soldier in the United States Army, 18 years active duty, and he's been in the National Guard for the last 2. He's also been working at Stop & Shop as a general merchandise associate. But Ian's been hearing good things about Target, and he's decided to submit his resume for a general merchandise full-time position at 2 different Target stores in central New Jersey. Now here's the part that kind of ticked me off a little bit. Based on the resume that I created, Ian Contras is extremely well qualified to work at Target. The only position Target offered to interview Ian for was a seasonal associate. Come on, that's crap. We gotta do better than that for our veterans. Seasonal work is great, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but I think if you would ask most people, they would tell you they'd be more interested in a full-time position. What you can expect: 5 video questions, 1 multiple choice. Wondering how you'll be reviewed? You're going to be reviewed by an AI program first. Oh, look at that. It says no computer assisted evaluation is being used. Only our team members will evaluate your submission. You know what, Target? If that's true, good on you. I am agreeing to the terms and conditions. Oh, look at this video demonstration.
Congratulations, you've been selected for the next stage in the recruitment process, which is an online video interview. This recorded video interview will focus on your experience and should take around 20 minutes. Our top tips: find a quiet place with minimal distractions, that's usually best. Practice a question. This way you can adjust your screen, shake out any nerves. You will have 30 seconds to consider each question before responding. If you respond to the question and you're finished and there's still time on the clock, don't feel pressure to use it all up. If you record your answer and you don't like it, you left something out, or it's just not quite right, don't worry, you can re-record it. The Target team is only going to see the final recording. We know that asking you to record a video of yourself can be a little daunting, so take a deep breath, relax, be yourself. We'll now conduct the video interview. Good luck.
Having issues with audio here. There we go. Try a practice question. Okay, let's do it. You will be asked to respond to questions on video. You will be given 3 attempts to record your audio response. This is a practice question. Your response will not be saved. CEO of Hirevue, Kevin Parker, said the most important thing you can do is do the practice questions. Let's see how it goes. Explain why your background and experience would be a good fit for this job. This is only a practice question. No one will see it. So I think my background and experience will be a great fit for Target simply because, number one, I've got some experience in retail grocery environments. I understand how to work, as a team together with the group, focus on the tasks at hand. When the delivery trucks come in, drop everything. When we get told code 87, take the trash out, stop what you're doing and go get it done. But also because I've got, 18 years previous experience in the US military, I understand what it is to work together as a group of people, particularly very diverse people you might not normally come across in the normal course of your life, and how to work together with them, how to get the job done, how to build relationships with them, and understand that each person is an individual and you need to communicate with them a little bit differently than maybe you need to communicate with somebody else. So I feel like I have a lot to offer Target. I'm a hard worker. I have a terrific work ethic. I'm a fast learner. I'm very flexible with my schedule. I can work early, I can work late, whatever the situation might call for. And generally speaking, I take pride in my appearance. I take pride in the work that I do. And I'm looking forward to an organization like Target that offers opportunities for advancement for somebody who distinguishes themselves. So I think the practice question went pretty well. Now we're going to move ahead to the live interview. So it said 5 video questions and 1 multiple choice question. We're getting ready to start the live interview now. Again, this is for a general merchandise associate at Target. They offered me a seasonal position, but I can't imagine their Hirevue is very different for a full-time position. There are 6 questions in this section for you to answer. Some of the questions will require you to record a response with video. You will only be given 3 attempts to record your response. Each question will have its own time limit. Once you submit your answer, you cannot change it. Number 1 is a recorded question. This question will be asked with a recording. You will be able to review the question text on the next screen. When you answer, push the play button when you are ready.
Tell me about your background, relevant work experience, and why you're interested in this position.
This one, I think I got wrapped up. Very similar to the practice question. My background is pretty straightforward. I joined the United States Army straight out of high school. I didn't exactly know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, so I jumped into the military, and it's been a terrific ride for me. It's been a wonderful career that's given me some great opportunities to visit different places in the world and travel and see things and meet new people. I spent several years in Germany. I've been deployed numerous times. I've spent a year in Afghanistan, a year in Iraq, a year in Kosovo, and have repeated that deployment cycle over and over. I had the opportunity to take my retirement from the military early, which I did, and went to work at a local grocery chain, Stop and Shop, as a general merchandise associate, and in hopes that I would transition into their management development program pretty quickly. Things have been a little bit slow there, so I'm definitely interested in a new opportunity with a bigger, more successful company that has more opportunities for advancement for somebody who distinguishes themselves. Since my transition out of the military, I've remained active with the New Jersey National Guard, and I've actually been able to achieve my next level promotion there. So things that I think make me a great fit for Target. Number 1, I'm very punctual. I take a lot of pride in my work, whatever that work may be. I'm very clean and neat. I like to take pride in my appearance, in my area where I'm working. Anything, is game. I don't think there's any job that's beneath me. I've served 19 years now as an enlisted soldier, so really there's nothing that you could throw at me that I would say, oh, that's not something I'm willing to do, as long as it's not unethical or immoral. I've led people, large teams of people, right up to a 150-person infantry company. I've mentored new lieutenants. I've mentored new company commanders. As the senior enlisted soldier in the company, that's kind of my job, is to mentor the new commander and help make him or her a better leader. And I've just been a lot of places and seen a lot of things. And I'm looking for an opportunity with an organization where I can stay for a long period of time and advance as is deserved. Okay, I think that was pretty good considering I was doing that all off the cuff. We'll see. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Recorded question 2.
Tell me about a time you exceeded the expectations of someone by anticipating their needs. Describe the situation, your actions, and the outcome.
I can see how this would be a really difficult question for somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience with behavioral interviews. I'm going to link below in the description to my video on behavioral interviews. Make sure you watch that. I think there's been a number of occasions where I've met expectations or exceeded expectations by anticipating what someone really needs. I think back to one particular deployment in Afghanistan. In 2007, I was functioning as a platoon sergeant at that point, and we were having a really difficult time getting hot food delivered to the forward operations base where we were living. It was pretty far off the beaten path, and it was a little bit difficult. We couldn't necessarily depend on the usual supply chain reaching us. And one of the things that you learn pretty quickly about soldiers is they function a lot better when they get hot food every day and aren't forced to eat packaged rations, MREs. Hot food has an amazing effect on the morale of soldiers, and regardless of what you may have heard, Afghanistan is a very cold country in the winter. So having a hot meal can really go a long way to boosting soldier morale. There was one particular occasion in the winter, I think it was December, we were taking our vehicles to a much larger operations base for maintenance. In particular, a new electronic system was being added to all of our vehicles. And while I was there, I was able to make contact with a civilian contractor who happened to be the manager of one of the big chow halls, one of the big dining facilities at that operations base. And he and I got to talking, and I happened to mention the fact that, our guys were mostly eating MREs because we couldn't rely on hot food ever making it to us. Either it was just too low of a priority, or there would be an attack or something like that, and just, dinner wouldn't make it out there. This individual was nice enough to hand over cases of frozen pizzas. Now, frozen pizzas aren't hot food per se, but once they go in the microwave, which we did have a microwave, suddenly it turns into a delicious, hot, cheesy, bubbly meal that 18, 19, 20-year-old young infantrymen love. It's a little taste of home for them. It takes them out of their head. Here I am in Afghanistan in a combat zone, and just for a minute they feel like they're back home. So by anticipating the needs of the soldiers, that they needed hot food, it was really important to have it, and making that connection to get it for them, I think that really went above and beyond expectations. I don't think I've ever used the full time in a Hirevue interview quite like I did that one. Recorded question 3.
Tell me about a time you had to make a major change to your daily routine or reprioritize something you were working on. Describe the situation, your actions, and the outcome.
If you had no previous experience with behavioral interviews, this interview would be very difficult. Yeah, absolutely. So when I transitioned off of active duty to civilian employment plus National Guard, there were so many different changes of priorities and just kind of changing of routines and things. Nobody really prepares you for the fact that when you transition off of active duty in the military, that nobody's going to be there, you know, to wake you up the next morning. Nobody's going to be there to tell you what to do. Your routine is very set and very predictable in the military, and then as a civilian, suddenly it's not. So the first few weeks after transitioning off of active duty were a little bit dicey, because it's like you have all this time, you don't know what to do with it, and now you have to try to fill it with productive activities instead of just having like a very predictable, stable schedule. So when I was able to secure my employment after transitioning out of the military with Stop and Shop, suddenly the schedule changes day to day. Instead of having a very predictable, I have to get to work at this time in the morning and I stay there till this time in the evening, unless of course we're deployed, then I stay there 24/7. You know, suddenly it's a different story. On Monday, you know, you're there from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. and then the next day you're there from 3 p.m. till we close, and then I need you all day Sunday. So for me, just that change of schedule and that lack of predictability was something that took a little bit of time to get used to. I've used, you know, the technology. I've got a cell phone, so I use my calendar app to remind me of my schedule for the whole week. And, you know, I consider myself a pretty flexible and adaptable person who's been able to make the best of those situations and, you know, move my exercise time back to a different time of the day. Or, you know, maybe instead of cooking dinner at home, I'll just grab something on the way home from work. You know, it's just a little bit of a different look and feel to every day. In terms of reprioritizing, you know, I primarily work in the frozen food section in Stop and Shop, but if help is needed in another area, it might be I've put everything out on the carts to start packing out the freezers, and all of a sudden so-and-so didn't come into work today, we need you to focus on produce. Okay, so go put everything back in the freezers and go, you know, start packing out the produce section, or blocking down the grocery section. You know, these things are not massive changes for somebody who's spent as much time in the military as I have. So I just, you know, go with the flow and adapt as best I can. Hope you're writing these answers down.
Tell me about a time you had to work with someone else to achieve a goal with multiple tasks while under a tight deadline. Describe the situation, your actions, and the outcome.
Recently, about, I don't know, I'd say 6 weeks ago or so, I came into work at Stop and Shop in the evening. I was working from 7 p.m. till midnight that night. And I came in and there was a little bit of a commotion going on. And I clocked in and I said, what's going on? And Sandy, the assistant manager, said, the freezers are down. We need you to immediately drop everything and go start loading everything up that's in the freezer section up into carts and put it in the freezer in the back. Some of the other individuals who worked at the store were already kind of busying themselves with this, but you know, they weren't moving quite as quickly as was necessary. So I grabbed, you know, as many carts as I could and basically explained to these individuals, hey, I know this isn't your usual job. I know it's really uncomfortable sticking your arm in the freezer because it comes out very cold, and you know, I know this section of the store is just very cold to work in, but let me go get you some gloves. Let me go get you, you know, a white butcher's coat so you're not quite as cold. But we got to get this done quickly because all of that stuff will spoil and all of that ice cream will melt, and the store will be out hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of merchandise. So with a little bit of encouragement and helping them get a hold of a few items that made their job a little bit easier, I was able to get those individuals on board with the sense of urgency that we needed to work with to secure everything from the frozen section and put it in the freezer, clean up any messes or any condensation that was on the floor so we didn't have any customers slip and break their necks, and lo and behold, we got everything taken care of. Some of the ice cream might have gotten a little soft, but nothing really and truly melted. And then it was just a matter of waiting for the technicians to come fix the freezers and then pack it all back out again. So it was a lot of work, but we got it done.
Tell me about a time you had a disagreement with a coworker or a peer about a goal you were trying to reach together. Describe the situation, your actions, and the outcome.
I sound like a broken record, but if you don't have a basic understanding of behavioral interviewing, this interview would be really difficult. They're specifically asking for situation, task, action, results, oriented answers. One of the jobs of a non-commissioned officer in the Army is to help mentor and develop new officers. Now, I know that kind of sounds backwards, right? Because the officers outrank the non-commissioned officers. And yes, that's true, but from an experience standpoint, non-commissioned officers may have many years of experience versus an officer who's right out of college. So I can remember a time in particular, this was back in the early 2000s, we were on a training rotation when I was stationed in Germany. And we were on a patrol at night. You know, our mission was to get from point A to point B without being seen by the enemy and set up an observation post so we could direct the artillery fire onto the enemy. And this was all training, you know, so none of it's real, it's all laser tag. And we had a young lieutenant who was straight out of West Point who believed that 6 weeks out of school, he knew better than everybody. And it created a little bit of friction because very quickly, you know, young lieutenants can take the wrong kind of attitude and alienate some of their non-commissioned officers that are supposed to be helping them. Well, in this particular situation, I was the squad leader. The lieutenant was with us on this patrol. Our mission was to get from point A to point B, not be seen, set up a communications relay, and, you know, observe the enemy. And we came upon an enemy, what's the best way to describe it? Like logistics strong point, where they had their ammo dump and their fuel, and this is what you call a very high priority target. And the young lieutenant wanted to put our heads down and charge. You know, it's a very high priority target, he wanted it taken out. I agreed with him that it needed to be taken out, but not the manner in which he wanted to do it. I suggested that we mark the location on the GPS, you know, make a note of it on the map, and call for an airstrike. He wanted to charge forward straight ahead. Well, you know, I can only give you suggestions. I can't force you to do something. And when he insisted that we were going to go about it his way, my response was, okay, sir, it's your patrol. And lo and behold, we were successful in taking out the logistics strong point, but unfortunately we didn't see the squad of enemy infantry that was hidden nearby in the trees. And that didn't go very well. So the moral of the story is I think the young lieutenant learned a lesson about, you know, maybe listening to and taking suggestions from those around him. I was very frustrated, but I learned a lesson too that, you know, sometimes you can only give suggestions, you can't force people to do things. Okay, so we're on to question 6 of 6. This one is a multiple choice question, not a video question. The 5 video questions, I think they went pretty well. Positions in Target stores include guest service and product handling duties as essential functions of the job. These duties may require the ability to handle cash, climb up and down ladders, work a flexible schedule, scan, handle, and move merchandise efficiently and safely, including lifting up to 40 pounds. This is not an exhaustive list, etc., yada, yada, yada. Can you do all this? Why, yes, I can. Your answers have been submitted. Please click on the button above to continue.
Thank you for expressing interest in joining the Target team. We know every career decision is an important one, and we really appreciate you considering us. We'll be reviewing your video and get back to you regarding next steps. If you have any questions, please contact the store's Human Resource team.
I would say that Target did it better than most people. The questions were very clear and concise, easy to understand, but if you didn't have a lot of behavioral interview experience, it'd be very difficult to answer. So that's it. That is the Hirevue interview for Target's general merchandise position. I doubt that it changes much between full-time positions and seasonal positions. They did offer me to interview for a seasonal position, but like I say, I think probably the interviews are about the same. Hopefully, seeing the questions and hearing how I put together the answers are going to help you crush your Hirevue interview at Target. Now that I've done that, you do this. Click on either of these two videos on screen right now. They're going to help you better understand how to answer behavioral-based questions, better understand how to crush video interviews, how to set up your environment for a video interview, and how to find that job of your dreams. Enjoy the rest of your job-seeking day. Stay classy, YouTube, and I'll see you next time. Peace!